Hi teachers, in this video I'm going to be taking a look at those into reading assessment options that are available to you. I'm just going to give you an overview of what's really there so that you can dive in and decide what might be useful for you and your students. In this video I'm going to focus on the assessment options that really help you get information on where students are at. Before we do that, you're first going to want to make sure that you have curriculum assigned to your particular class and into reading. To do this, you're going to select My Classes and note all of the classes that you have listed below. If you're a teacher that has the same students all day long, you only need to assign curriculum in one of those classes. And if you're a teacher who has multiple groups of students, make sure you assign curriculum for each of those classes. To do that, I'm going to simply click to view the class, select program settings, and then here you can see that I have everyone checked because this is my demo class, and you will check whatever grade level it is that you need. The first assessment we're going to take a look at is the growth measure assessment that's available for students in grades 2 and up. So this is not available for grades K and 1. We're first going to head over to the teacher's corner so that you can learn a little bit more about that growth measure. I'm simply going to search the teacher's corner for growth measure, hit enter or the search, and allow the different resources to come up. I've favorited these resources so that we can easily talk about them right now. I have the introduction to the reading growth measure, a 5-minute interactive, a 3-minute interactive showing what that student experience will look like. Here's a 4-minute interactive showing about how to analyze those reading reports. And then we have 2 longer tutorials, one a 20-minute guide and getting started with that growth measure, as well as a live event that sometimes will be available for various aspects of the program. To assign that growth measure to students, I'm going to click over to the Discover tab, and keep in mind I need to be in grades 2 and up in order to see this. So I'm going to click in grade 2, and I'm going to see a button for Connected Solutions. Once in here, I notice the reading growth measure, and I'm going to select View. This gives me just a little recap of what the assessment is. It is administered 3 times a year, or how you choose, and it takes approximately 45 minutes. Now, keep in mind that this is the current test window that is available. I can assign this to my students right now, even though I haven't done the other 2 windows. These windows are determined and set by the district, so they have to be set at the district level. If you arrive at a time that is during another window, you'll see that particular window's test available. I'm going to select Assign. And here I'll give it an assignment name, directions, start date, due date. You can even customize time, or you can leave the times blank and just do the start and due date. I do suggest leaving this no student submission after due date end time unchecked. That way, if you happen to have a student who's out while you assign it, they can still see that assignment when they come back, and you don't have to go through the process of reassigning it to them. Down in the bottom corner, I'll see my assignees, where I can view by classes or by groups if I have groups created, and then select which students I want to assign this to and select Assign. Students would then see it in their student portal, where they would be able to take that assessment, and then you'll be able to access all of that information from the assessment in the Reports tab underneath the Growth Report. You can see, because this is my demo class, no one has actually taken this assessment yet. The next component I want to show is the foundational skills assessment that's available for grades K and 1 only. To do this, I'm going to go to Discover, and I want to make sure I'm in grades K or 1. Here I'm going to select all resources, drag myself back over to the side, select assessment, and then I see it pop up here at the beginning, but I am going to click the component, and it's this very top one here. It's called the Interactive Early Literacy Assessment. There is a beginning of year and mid-year available. Now you can click open to see exactly what this would look like for students, as well as click the assign button. The assign button will do exactly what it did for that growth measure. You'll see all of the different fields that you would fill in before you would click assign. Again, a reminder, you probably don't want to check this box here, because that way if you have a student out, they can still take it after that due date. Do be aware when you're looking at this assessment, there are play buttons instead of having the directions visually on the screen. Students will listen to the directions and it will give you directions on what to do. You can go through the assessment to decide if this is something that you would want to use. Now, in grades K through 3, our primary curriculum for those foundational skills is Foundations. And these tools that I'm showing you in the foundational skills would simply be things to reinforce or add to what you're already doing in Foundations. The last resource that we're going to take a look at is those benchmark books that are available. Now, the benchmark books are available for all levels A to Z. But when you're looking in your grade level, you'll most likely only see the books for your particular grade level. There are ways for you to get more if that's something that you're interested in. To get there, we're going to go to Discover HMH Resources. And when I am here on All Resources, I'm going to select Assessment. Under the component, I'm first going to take a look at the printable benchmark evaluation guides. This is probably where I want to start. There's a little introduction that's a PDF that I can print to kind of see how these would work. And we're going to open up one of these to see what it is you would need to print in order to do these assessments with students. So you will want to print this guide for each student that you want to do this assessment with. There will be directions on the first page, but the rest of the pages are where you will record the student data. So you can see I have a reading accuracy record. At the younger grades, I do have retelling. And then I have an assessment, a fiction and a nonfiction that are comprehension questions, as well as at the very end, I have the scoring guide for those particular comprehension questions. Now, the beginning of this, the first 2 pages, really need to be done on paper by hand. However, the program does provide those comprehension assessments at the end in a virtual interactive mode for students as well. So let's take a look at those particular virtual assessments. I would select component and then choose interactive guided reading benchmark assessment. And then I can assign it to that particular student so that they can take that assessment. So I'm going to select open. And when this assessment loads, we'll notice that the questions are on the screen. Students would have the question, and then this is automatically graded at the end. If a student needs those questions read aloud, the purple puzzle piece will work. That read-write extension will work to read those questions aloud. I would simply click that play button. If students are using this, they do have the option under the 3 dots to select those options and change it to a slower form of speech as well. That is how you would get these questions read aloud in place of the teacher reading them aloud for this student. The other thing that we need to point out with those benchmark books is where to get the actual books that students will read. Under component, I'm going to select interactive guided reading benchmark books. So I have each of the books here. Do be aware you'll want to know the titles ahead of time because unfortunately they didn't put the level next to the title. When you've done that, you can see that we can assign this online, or I could simply have the book open on my teacher computer for students to view. If you need some support with getting those students those books in their hands on paper, please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. The features that we just talked about are just options available for you within Into Reading. I know that you'll want to look a little bit more at each of these assessment options to see if it is a fit for what you need in order to better assess student learning within your class.